Prabhu he mona durmati samsara bitare poriachinu ami tavani jajana kono mahajane. Dandavat pranams to all of the devotees. Welcome to our Monday evening live stream here from the Soquel Seva Ashram. My name is Vaidehi Devi Dasi, and it is an honor and pleasure to be in service in this way. Under the request of Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj, I feel super grateful to be able to share every week and to have these conversations. So right now I am right outside the temple room. Tulsi Arti is going on inside the temple room, and I wanted to make sure that I started on time. So the devotees are currently finishing Tulsi Arti. There's been some new devotees helping on the altar and doing puja, so it's always really nice to see that. And so sometimes things run a little bit late as a result, but nevertheless we're grateful that there's devotees here participating in the activities of what is our practicing life, which is kirtan. This is what Mahaprabhu came to this world to give, and this is our practice, this is our direction and our instruction to engage in puja and kirtan, and this is the main activity that is most beneficial for our spiritual awakening and upliftment. Shravanam, kirtanam. So it's really nice to see devotees learning how to do the puja and practicing in this way. So before we begin, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me and that everyone is here. Go ahead and let me know that you're watching, sending some emojis. Let me know if the sound is clear. I'm outside, so I'm not sure if the connection is super strong. So please let me know. Let's see who's here. Oh, I see Hari Balava's here, Marco Bruno, Dandavat Pranams, and who else is here? Jose Luis. And that's all I can see, but if you are watching and it's not showing up, go ahead and send some emojis, wave, so that I can see that you're here. And before we begin, I was just curious if anybody had a question they wanted to ask today or some topic for discussion. I always have plenty of ideas, but I felt like asking today to see if there's anything you all wanted to share. And I do want to, before, as I'm waiting to see if anybody writes or comments anything, last week on Friday we had a really, really nice kirtan bonfire, and we got together on one of the beaches here in Santa Cruz, known as Moran Lake Beach, and we had a really nice group of Gopal Prabhu Dandavat. I was speaking about the kirtan bonfire last week, which was really nice because it's this combination of, I guess, pleasure and spiritual practice, right? Being on the beach, being in the ocean air, being outdoors, and being with all the kids, playing in the sand, and then inviting our friends, inviting guests, and then being together in the association of devotees. All right, so sorry about that. I'm gonna find out and see why this keeps happening, where the internet keeps breaking up. I was speaking about the bonfire and how it was a really nice combination of, yes, I know, I'm so sorry the internet keeps cutting out. I don't know why it's doing that. It's been doing that even inside. So sorry about that. Okay. So I was just saying that it was a really nice combination of pleasure and spiritual practice, right? Being in the ocean air, outside, watching the kids play, inviting friends, inviting guests, being with family, but in the mood and in the spirit of association, of spiritual practice and practicing life. And I thought this was such a great example. And I wanted to speak on this topic of what is association, right? What is association, and this concept of party spirit, and how so often, we find this in dogmatic secular practices, and honestly amongst all classes and groups of human society, right? This concept of party spirit. But before we speak on that, I wanted to speak about sadhu sangha, right? The association with the devotees. And when I say sadhu sangha, yes, there is sadhu sangha, right? The association of saintly personalities, such as Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, right? Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj, and our Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda. But then there's also, sadhu sangha, association with the devotees who are more like our peers, our god brothers and god sisters. And how important it is to keep that association pure, relevant, and aligned with the principles of practicing life and bhakti, and how we can get so much more from each other and our association with each other when we make an effort to engage in a spiritual way. And when I say spiritual, meaning, not just sitting down and eating prasadam and talking about whatever we want, or not just hanging out and watching a movie or gossiping about other people or speaking about whatever comes to mind, but making a concerted effort as God brothers and God sisters to associate in a way that keeps our minds, our tongue, and our consciousness in alignment with our principles of bhakti, right? Our different practices, such as puja, right? Such as kirtan, such as remembering, such as hearing, such as serving together, confiding in each other, and how important that is if we can be in integrity with these principles and we can have that top of mind to be good association with each other. And I've seen time and time again how sometimes, people associate with each other, but instead spend their time gossiping about other devotees or creating groups against certain devotees or these devotees or those, right? And bringing some of the materialistic tendencies that we find in the non-spiritual world, the non-bhakti practicing lifestyle into our association with devotees. And, just as this human birth is very rare, this human birth is so rare, so freaking rare, hold on to it by using this human birth to elevate our consciousness, your consciousness, please, right? Speaking to myself, speaking as a reminder to all of us, right? How can we hold on to this, and actually appreciate our true gratitude to this human birth is to engage in kirtan, to engage in spiritual practice, to use our tongue for speaking about Krishna, speaking about good things, speaking about, good qualities, speaking about pastimes, speaking about how we can improve, or speaking about where we feel we could be better, or asking for support or advice, right? Using our time together to elevate, right? Not to waste our time in gossiping and party spirit and disrespecting and chewing on the chewed and being immersed and engrossed in the drama. We already know there's so much drama, there's so much politics, there's so much party spirit, there's so much envy, there's so much anxiety, there's so much suffering, there's so much difficulty, right? The dualities, pain and pleasure, happiness and distress, right? And all of these things, we already know the ups and downs of this world. And the way that we participate in these ups and downs is by subscribing to these ups and downs. And one of the ways that we subscribe to those ups and downs is by giving tongue and lip service to those ups and downs, and dwelling and lamenting and contemplating and focusing on those negativities. And again, it's one thing to share those, negativities in the spirit of healing and asking for support, or of releasing, or, that kind of concept. But it's another thing to be stuck in it and to continue chewing on the chewed and reliving the experience over and over again. So just as this human birth is extremely rare, so is the association with other devotees. That is also very rare. And when I say other devotees, I mean practitioners, just, as the beginning tier, right? What to speak of our acharyas and our you know, beautiful, you know, Vaishnavas that are elders and are senior to us. And I don't mean senior in this like pretentious, like senior devotee with all that, like, oh, that's such a turnoff. But I mean those devotees that are senior to us in their mood of bhakti, in their mood of surrender, in their mood of devotion, in their disciplined, regulated service, practicing life, right? Our elders, our senior devotees who are 100% dedicated and who are extremely rare and one of a kind, using our time to associate in a way that advances and inspires our spiritual practice, our inquiry, our dedication, our serving mood, and alleviating the heart. We know about the challenges of this world, and we know that, you know, energy goes where attention flows, or energy flows where attention goes. So like Guru Maharaj says, right, if you want to focus on the negative things, right, you can focus on the negative things, and that's where your mind will go. That's what you will attract. That's what will come to you, and you'll find yourself perpetuating those cycles of drama over and over and over and over again, and continue to be this helpless victim that's trapped in their drama. And I've often, you know, experienced this, and it's like, my analogy is like, I'm like sitting in a tub of my own like venom, right? And like like a snake correctly in my own venom, like, right? But the way we get out of that is understanding, okay, I have this venom. There's this venom that is spewing from me. There is just this venom that exists, right? This poison, right? Whatever, this gossip, this, all these qualities that we are detoxifying ourselves from, right? By practicing in spiritual life, they're going to come up. We all have them. Nobody's perfect, right? Everybody has them. But, you know, we can either choose to see them, acknowledge them, and make a concerted, strategic, dedicated effort to slowly begin dislodging them and clearing and cleansing them. Or we can choose to continue, you know, smearing it all over ourselves and others around us. And so when we find that tendency to be stuck in our lamentation, to be stuck in our party spirit, and you can't sit with us, or like, we're better than you, or, you know, like all these weird little high school ego trips that we find ourselves in, it's important to recognize and just acknowledge when we do those things. You know, if there's something you don't like in another person, you may very well be the embodiment of that as well, right? So, you know, being able to have this discernment and this self-reflection capacity, right? If we think we are perfect and always putting our energy outside and blaming outside, we're never going to be able to really observe and receive the opportunity for clearing and cleansing that happens when we look within and when we accept. Just as when somebody has a disease and they're in denial and they don't want to take the medicine, they don't want to accept that it's there, the disease may continue to advance and the body continues to get frail and experience the challenges of that disease, right? But when we are able to acknowledge that the disease is there, recognize the medicine, and be gentle and kind and compassionate and benevolent with also ourselves, we can begin to make an adjustment or begin to make a change. And this requires a little bit of, you know, not being attached, not being attached, right? And being able to take a look at everything and recognize, like Gurudev would say, this is a passing show. And the reason I brought this up is because I was thinking about this today and meditating on this, right? Like how 1 minute who you think are your friends suddenly turn and become your enemies, and who you think were your enemies suddenly turn and become your friends. And someone who may have been praising you and saying nice things, it's now suddenly campaigning against you and gossiping against you. And it's like, I've gone through so many of these experiences that at this point, I just recognize that, like, to err is human. Every human makes a mistake, and that duality is temporary, right? Like Bhagavad Gita describes, like happiness and sadness, pleasure and pain, cold and heat. Everything is temporary. So don't get caught up, right? When, someone's glorifying you. Don't get caught up when someone's insulting you. Don't get caught up in the game, right? This is how we can stay free of the bondage that can happen when we subscribe to the ups and downs that are constantly being thrown at us. Is this making sense, what I'm saying? Is this resonating, right? I'm asking this because it's not easy, and when we're in it, it can be hard to observe and to recognize. But, once you've been on this roller coaster a couple of times, you start understanding what the name of the game is and how to play to win. And the way you play to win is by not getting caught up. And by not getting caught up means don't get caught up in listening and participating in the drama, and don't get caught up in speaking and participating in the drama. And, how can we take things with more of like, if you're not safe and it's not a healthy situation, obviously remove yourself from the situation, ask for help, protect yourself. But I'm referring to, these situations where, we hear there's always going to be chaos and drama and gossiping. And there will come a point where, you're no longer having the energy or the space or, the time to really get involved. And this is something that I've been experiencing this summer is, going from a place of like carrying in and being involved and reacting and hearing and feeling all the things, like fear and sadness and anger, and then realizing, wait a minute, like this is just gonna continue, and there's always gonna be a new wave of this coming at me. And when you have so much else to do in your life, and opportunities and possibilities for practicing life, for service life, for developing nicely your material existence so that it can be in service to your spiritual existence, there is absolutely no time to get caught up and trapped. And so this is where this concept of party spirit comes in, right? So often the ego is going to be campaigning to turn this group against that group, this person against that person, this ideal against that ideal, this vision against that vision. But the truth is that there is a universal truth, there is a universal agenda, there is a universal principle that is actually harmonizing everything. And if we can be good students, we'll catch on to what those universal truths, principles, and all harmonizing movements are for ourselves personally, and also for the environment at large, right? Whether it's our local community or the environment at large in a city, state, country, and so on and so forth. So these trying times call for our minds to be up-leveled, to not just be village minds, village talk, gossip talk, chewing on the chewed, right? Getting caught up in the drama. But these times call for our minds and our intelligence and our understanding to be really refined, right? This concept of sumedasa, refined theistic intellect, applying the principles, applying what we hear from our Guru, Param Guru Maharaj, and from our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj, and from our Acharyas, applying it to everything that's going on. And the less we can be involved in the ups and downs, the more free we can be to truly engage in kirtan. And so Mahaprabhu says, right, abandon all concepts of dogma, religion, gender, caste, creed, right? Those are all party-spirited concepts, right? Like, where our group is, this group is, that group is, we are the, they are the, right? All of that is just village thinking, village mind, pa, 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 right? Like that, Krishna consciousness and the nature of this world is requiring us to graduate behind what I also called the high school mind, right? Like, oh my God, did you hear what she said about what she said? And oh my God, that was so, like, getting caught up in all of that is really, guess what? It's a distraction. It's a distraction from the things we have available to us to help us in our spiritual practicing life. And so we don't have to participate in every drama that comes our way. We don't have to participate in every misery that comes our way. We don't have to subscribe to every club that presents itself, every thought that comes up. We don't have to subscribe and participate. And so when, obviously, if our attraction is to the garbage, then we're going to be somewhat attracted to those things. No disrespect if you're attracted to the garbage, or I don't want to call it garbage if that's not what you consider it, right? No disrespect for those of us that are still stuck in this, or for those of us that get hit with this from time to time. It's a part of what we go through. But the sooner we can begin recognizing that, the Mayic domain, right? The lower tendencies, the lower gunas and qualities, and the party spirit and the envy and the ego and all these things are constantly going to be asking us to subscribe. Please subscribe. Please join. Please get upset. Please react. Please be a part of this. Please hear this and have an ego trip and blow out. Like, please, right? There's always going to be this like pull from us. And the best thing we can do is be like, oh, I know what that is now, because I've taken the time to really observe the patterns of drama and conflict that have been prevalent in my life. And, I'm going to choose to not get involved. No, thank you, right? So that's why the more introspective we can be, the more we can align ourselves to ideals and principles that inspire and uplift us. We don't have to feel so heavy. We don't have to feel so depressed. We don't have to feel so sad or so bereft or so alone. We can choose to change all of these things, and it depends upon our attraction, what we are attracted to, and of course that is influenced by our karma, our samskar, our tendencies. But the more that we can develop that higher taste and really align our own ideals and our own consciousness with those of our spiritual guardians, those that are prescribed in our practicing life, in our bhakti yoga movement, the more we're going to understand what that feeling is, what that mood is, what that association is, what that vibration is. And when we start to recognize and see our mind going on the wrong track, right? On that track that's going to bring us down, that's going to make us heavy, that's going to distract us, that's going to keep us engaged on not the point of why we're here, then we're going to be better at navigating the roller coaster of this material existence. And so, we can make our material life wonderful and blessed and beautiful the more it's aligned with those spiritual principles. And really, when we think about what are those spiritual principles, we're being invited to bliss, to joy, to truth, to eternal consciousness. We're being invited to a happy feeling, an uplifted feeling, a light consciousness, an engaged, focused mind, right? Balanced, grounded, joyful, equipoised, ecstatic, benevolent, merciful, and so many beautiful qualities that we can continue to list. And so that's our prospect, that's our future, that's our invitation, that's our practicing opportunity. But we get to choose what channel we tune into. And at first, it's going to be hard to disengage, especially when we are invested in the village subscription, in the village talk, the Gramya Katha, right? I say village talk because it's actually an expression, right? The Gramya Katha, the talk of the town, the village talk, the society talk, right? The vox populi, like what is the population saying, right? But we don't want to be involved in what the population is saying. We don't want to hear what the general public, opinionates. We're not interested in that. We're interested in the transcendental sound vibration. We're interested in Amnaya Tattva, in revealed truth, transcendental sound. That is what we're interested in. So having a stronger discernment, if it's not uplifting me, then I don't want it. And being, bold enough and intelligent enough and secure enough and getting your principles sorted and your integrity sorted so that we can choose to cut and exit and, release ourselves from those situations. Because believe you me, if it were up to the Gramya Kata, it would keep me trapped and crying in a roller coaster all day, right? Miserable and incapable of performing my seva and my practices, and in developing the business that I love, and in taking care of my beautiful mom, and being good association for my friends outside of the temple, who I have so many beautiful friends in this community in Santa Cruz who are into spiritual life. If I am caught up in the miseries and the drama and the gossip, then I'm not going to be able to show up in the best way as a beacon of, a representation of Gurudev's message. So it's necessary for us to protect our minds, our hearts, our vibrational field, our association, by having a strong discernment and understanding, really, first and foremost, of those tendencies within us, within ourselves. And next is to understand our attraction and attachment and subscription to those things. Because unless we recognize, oh my gosh, I am attached to this, I am perpetually reliving and chewing on this same rotten thing over and over again, each time it's a different person, a different outfit, but it's the same load of beep, then we can understand, right, that wait, this keeps coming so that I can realize that I'm perpetuating this, right? We have free will. We can choose to be caught up, and we can also choose to be engaged in more of what's in alignment with our good fortune. So this is just an excellent reminder, first and foremost, for myself, but I thought it might be useful for others as well. And, taking a moment to reflect on what are those cycles of drama and, gossip or, BS, like whatever that is in that category for you. Recognize what those things are. Recognize, how attached am I to these things? Why are they affecting me so much? And how can I, why does it matter if everything is a passing show? And if this life is tottering like a drop of water on the leaf of a lotus, if everything is temporary and your best friend could become your enemy and your enemy can become your best friend, why am I going to stop and analyze and participate and get involved, right? So recognizing how you're subscribing to it, and then third, developing the capacity, the strength, the integrity to choose to not be involved by having verbal boundaries and expressing, I actually don't want to participate in this conversation, or I'm tired of this drama and I'm no longer going to contribute energy to this. Please stop contacting me, or thank you so much for sharing, but this is not something I can comment on, right? Understanding how we can use our voice and our speech and our tongue to also create those healthy boundaries wherever this is necessary, whether it's in, your family life, your material life, your spiritual life, whether it's within your own mind. Yes, I'm suggesting speaking to yourself or your own mind when it also tries to chew on the chewed, right? We have to be able to nip it in the bud, right? Cut it quick and have that level of, sensitivity, that level of awareness and perception to see it when it's happening, and to cut it. Because the mind, when it's under the influence of bad association, right? Whether it's other human beings or our own suffering or our own karma or our own ghosts coming to haunt us, our mind is easily influenced. And when it's under the influence of bad association, it really the way it feeds itself is by generating vibration and attention to those negative things, right? Making us get heated and worked up, and having our mind get distracted from those things that give us bliss, that give us joy, that give us strength in our practicing life. And so the more we can engage in talks of Krishna and reading and chanting and taking time to meditate, really taking time to, what are those things, and writing them down. You know, I love setting intentions. I love reflecting. I work with like the new moons to set new intentions, the full moons to release, like, okay, what's been heavy? What am I letting go of, right? I like to kind of use the moon as a calendar system for checking in and journaling and doing these kinds of exercises. This is the time for myself to reflect. And it doesn't have to be based on the moon. It can be, you know, every Monday or every Sunday night, whatever it is. But take those times of self-reflection to really check with yourself. And I've heard about, you know, in some Buddhist monasteries or Buddhist practices, the monks do this every night before they go to sleep. They reflect on the day. They write down what went well. They write down what they didn't like and how they could have showed up better. And they take note of these different parts of their day that can be really shifted or more aligned towards their spiritual purpose. And so when we can take the time to do that regularly, we're going to be better equipped and able to disengage from unnecessary noise that simply distracts us from being on purpose with our practicing life. So we know what's in store for us in our practicing life: Shravanam, Kirtanam, joy, beauty, bliss, right? And of course, it doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect, but this is our prospect. And the sooner we can get on board with switching the channel and, you know, keeping ourselves on track, it really is like necessary. It's not just like, oh, you come to the temple and eat prasadam and then like Krishna carries you. Like, we have to stand up and carry ourselves and do that work. And so that is what I'm suggesting, is those tools of self-reflection and having that kind of discernment, and then using our voice to create those powerful boundaries, to create those you know, those ways of really exiting and removing ourselves from being caught in that wheel or in that train of thinking. And this is for everyone. This is for, you know, challenges that happen within one's own mind, other living entities, and anything that's going on. How can you have a system and a process for checking in with yourself and doing that internal work, that introspective work? And of course, replacing those thought patterns, replacing those associations, replacing those comments or those subscriptions with new things, right? If you notice you're attached to gossip, right? Get attached to sharing quotes and shlokas and reading the scripture. If you notice you're attached to the drama, right? Like, how can you bring more peace into your life by maybe not associating with drama-bound persons? Or if you're attached to fear and being distracted from your practicing life, get disciplined and create some time every day to practice so that your day doesn't go without that. And slowly but surely, that dedicated small amount of time that you put into your day will in a way carry you and slowly kind of snowball and grow and evolve until your taste becomes a little bit more fine-tuned, refined, and aligned to what's being distributed here in our path of bhakti, in our line of bhakti, in our bhakti temples, in our bhakti practice, in our bhakti books. So that is really the gist of what I wanted to say is, you know, association and party spirit, and association to ourselves, to others, and that we receive from others. How can we clean that up? Let's clean that up a little bit. Let's clean up the act just a little bit. Let's be better association for ourselves. Let's be better association to others. And let's also, you know, remove ourselves from the associations that bring us down, that make us feel heavy. And then, you know, party spirit. When you notice those tendencies to I'm in this group, or I'm better than this group, or that group is this group, or I'm against this guy, da 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 da. All those tendencies, check yourself, because they're all ephemeral, and those are illusion, and they're going to dissolve. And you know, again, your friend will become your enemy, and your enemy will become your friend. So enough with the party spirit. Let that go, and let's have a party in the spirit of kirtan instead, right? Flip the script, change the words around, and turn it into a positive thing where everybody's welcome, right? Everybody can engage in Krishna Katha. Everybody can engage in kirtan together, no matter what differences. And if, you know, if you're being distracted from participating in the medicine because of some party spirit tendency, then that is really your illusion and how it's showing up for you and keeping you from that practicing life. And this can be any circumstance, any situation, any person, any place. It's, you know, I'm not speaking about anything or anyone in particular, but rather it's a, you know, collection of different experiences throughout my entire life and over this summer and on the daily, right? It's really what I observe from the things that do come my way, and what I think could be really helpful for all of us to pay attention to. And there is a difference for me between being disempowered and trapped in those kinds of games and learning how to stay above the game, and learning how to be in the real game, which is, you know, our practicing life. So I hope that what I'm sharing is somehow helpful. I hope that it's relevant in some way or another. And again, forget the past, the sleeps. Who cares what she said, that he said, that they said, that she said, that, and like whatever drama went down. Like, who cares? Forget the past, the sleeps. Ne'er the future dream at all, but act in times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. Right? Liberate yourself from that drama. If someone wants to be trapped in the drama, let them. Maybe be good association in the future, but let that go and practice joyfully, and, you know, surrender to your spiritual practice. Give it time and energy on the daily. It's important, and so important. You know, the spiritualists are saying practice your material and spiritual life, and the materialists are saying balance your material and your spiritual life. So both groups are saying balance your material and your spiritual life. And, you know, the material life is kind of like the evil twin, right? It has a tendency to like get distracted, and the spiritual life would like to stay focused, and sometimes they're at odds with each other, but there is the opportunity and possibility of them coming together harmoniously and not having them be different. How can we, I love how Pushta Krishna Prabhu would always say dovetailing, right? Dovetailing our material and spiritual life and making them non-different. How can we make our spiritual life and our material life both blessed spiritually and both working in alignment with each other versus against each other? So the deities are now open. They've been for a while. I'm going to step inside because I'm doing the class outside and I wanted to shine the camera in their direction so you can have some darshan of their lordships. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. And to close, I would love to sing a song or two so that we can engage in some kirtan together. And I will invite you to sing along. If anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to write them in the comments section. I'm gonna grab the kartals and songbook, and let's see if anybody has written anything, and if not, we will continue and close the evening with some kirtan. And let me know what you think about this topic. Let me know what you think about what I've shared, and do let me know if you find this helpful in any way, and if you would like to request a topic of conversation or a theme for next week. Please feel free to write and comment in the comment section beneath this video now. And of course, this Thursday we will have our reading from Revealed Truth, so be sure to tune in then. We will begin our reading at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll read from Revealed Truth, so be sure to tune in then. And in the spirit of tonight's theme, really, let's sing Emona Durmati. So if you are in the 7th edition of the Kirtan Guide, you can turn to page 164 or look up Emona Durmati in your songbook. The name of this song is Dainyatmika, and it's written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And let's read the translation before we begin singing. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera back, and then when we sing, you can have the darshan of their lordships. So this beautiful song written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and this is really the theme of tonight, is our mind and the mind's tendency to be engaged in the distractions and roller coasters of this world, and how we can free our mind by engaging in kirtan and using our speech, our verbal cues and responses to create better association. All right, so here is the translation to the song before we begin. A wicked mind brought me into this world, O Lord, but one of your pure and elevated devotees has come to bring me out. He saw me so fallen and wretched, took pity, and came to me saying, O humbled soul, please listen to this good tiding, for it will gladden your heart. Sri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in the land of Navadvip to deliver you. He has safely conducted many miserable souls such as you across the sea of worldly existence. To fulfill the promise of the Vedas, the son of a Brahmana, bearing the name Mahaprabhu, of golden complexion, has descended with his brother, the Avadut Nityananda. Together, they have overwhelmed all of Nadia with divine ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, the son of Nanda, has saved the world by freely distributing his own holy name. Go also and receive your deliverance. O Lord, hearing those words, Bhaktivinoda has come weeping to the soles of your lotus feet and tells the story of his life. So this is an ode to the mind's tendency to become distracted by Gramya Katha, by village talk, by party spirit, and all the other various distractions that can come from this material world. And so we are taking the medicine to free ourselves from that roller coaster by engaging in some kirtan and remembering the words of our acharyas and choosing to instead engage with the proper channel, the proper course, that which brings us joy and gladdens our heart. We don't need to feel heavier and more caught up and trapped and entangled in the drama. We need to feel lighter, happier, and like we have a strategy for making it through this material world. And our strategy is Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing the glories of the Lord and chanting. And that's why, we want to get together for more kirtan. So if you are local in Santa Cruz, please come for kirtan and arti in the evenings. That would be so lovely to have more of you here. And if you would like to come this Thursday nights is a time to read together, to pass around the book, Revealed Truth, take turns reading, to do some of the bhajans and the temple program, to participate in the arti, which starts at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and to close the evening with prasadam. So if you're local, please come on Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. That's when the RT starts. You can come any day, but on that specific night, we're holding a group and community practice for kirtan, for the temple program, and also for reading together as a group, taking turns reading this wonderful book. And we will go live here. So please be sure to come on Thursdays at 6:30 to participate in that. I would love to see you guys. I do the RT ceremony that night, and then we can sing together and then read from Revealed Truth. So please be sure to join in. Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then every other Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be hosting a kirtan bonfire at Moran Lake Beach. That's Moran Lake Beach. You can literally Google it. Please be sure to come. It's totally worth it. Super nice activity. You can bring snacks and roast things by the bonfire. The kids are playing. It's really fun, family friendly. You can bring friends, you can bring guests. We had some of my friends come with their guitar and we were singing the Maha Mantra together. So yes, we'll have kartal and mridanga, but also be able to sit around the campfire. I call it kumbaya style, to chant together. So please be sure to come. Don't miss it. The next one will be on that first Friday of August. So it'll be every other Friday. We just had one last week, so this Friday we won't have it, but the next Friday we will. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep announcing it, but mark it on your calendar, that first Friday of August. I can't wait to see you. All right, let's go ahead and sing. We're gonna sing this song and then we'll sing Hari Haraya, and then we will close the evening. And I'm gonna turn the camera back to their lordships. They look so beautiful. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandaravika Giridhari. And we're singing Emona Durmati. It's called Danyatmika, page 164, 7th edition of the Kirtan Guide. If you ever wish to sing along, you can download the PDF of the Kirtan Guide and sing along. All right, here we go. Prabhu he Emona Durmati, Samsara Vitare, Poriya Chinuami, Tavani Jajana, Kono Mahajane, Pataiya Dile Tumi, Doya Kori More Patita Dekhiya, Kohilo Amare Giya, O Hedina Jan, Shuno Balokata, Ulasita Behiya, Tomara Tarite Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Navadvipe Avatara, Tomahe Nokotari Nahi Na Jane, Korile Na Bhagopar, Vedera Pratigya Rakhi Bharotare, Rukmavarna Viprasuta, Mahaprabhu Name Nadiya Matai, Sange Bhaya Vaduta, Nanda Suta Jini Chaitanya Goshai, Nijanama Koridana, Tarilo Jagat Tumi Ojaiya, Lohonija Paritrana, Tekata Shuniya Siya Chinata, Tomara Charana Tole, Bakati Vinora Kariya Kariya, Apana Kahini Bole, Apana Kahini Bole, Prabhu He Emona Durmati, Samsara Vitare, Poriyaya Chinuami. Jaya Gaura Hari, 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 Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. All right, next is Hari Haraya. We'll close with this song. And by the way, if you are local and you are interested in learning how to sing some of these songs, I will be happy to share this with you. Stay tuned for some upcoming workshops, some kirtan workshops, but you can begin by coming on Thursdays. That's really the best time to start, where we get to practice together live in the temple room. All right, so next song is called Nama Sankirtan. And this is by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Oh, Jayadev! Dandavat, Jayadev. And I see Saraswati's here. Dandavat. So we're now singing Nama Sankirtan on page 60 in the 7th edition of the Kirtan Guide. You can look it up in your Kirtan Guide if you have it. And you can look it up by the words Hari Haraye. Hari Haraye. And again, this song is written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Let's go ahead and read the translation so we know what we're saying when we're singing it. So let's begin with verse 1, and I'll turn the camera here so that it's more of a conversation for you, and then turn the camera there so you can see them when we're chanting. So, or they can see you virtually. All right, so first verse. O Lord Hari, O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances to you, who are known as Jadava, Hari, Madhava, and Keshava. O Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. All glories to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. All glories to the moon-like Sri Advaita Acharya. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit and all of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya, headed by Sri Vas Thakur. All glories to Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. I offer my obeisances to the 6 Goswamis. By offering them my obeisances, all obstacles to devotion are destroyed and all spiritual desires are fulfilled. Super important to pay attention to this, right? By offering them my obeisances. Remember that line. That's Echai Goshai Kori Charana Vandana Jaha Hoite Bigna Nash Abi Stafurana. Really good line to remember. I am a servant of that person who is a servant of these 6 Goswamis. The dust of their holy feet is my 5 kinds of foodstuffs. This is my desire, that birth after birth I may live with those devotees who serve the lotus feet of these 6 Goswamis. When these 6 Goswamis lived in Braja, they revealed and explained the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Absorbing your mind in meditation upon the divine feet of the spiritual master and the holy Vaishnavas, chant the names of Lord Hari in ecstasy, and worship the transcendental realm of Vrindavan. Desiring the lotus feet of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, Narottam Das sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. Jai. Okay, let's sing it together. I'm just going to do the full song, and we'll do call and response another time. It's important. Let's learn these songs. And remember, Kirtan workshops coming up. And in August, Vishaka Didi is going to be visiting. And that weekend that she's coming, I have yet to complete some of the details of the schedule and yet to offer it to Srila Janardhan Maharaj, but we've already gotten his permission for doing this. We're going to be having workshops that weekend. So please come. That will be the weekend of the 19th through the 25th. So 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. The 20th is a Friday. We have a Kirtan program that night. Saturday is the 21st. We have another event Saturday evening, and then Sunday will be the 22nd. So save the date on your calendars and stay tuned for more details. We're going to be having some workshops and classes and activities here at the Soquel Seva Ashram. So make sure you mark your calendars. We'll share more information when the time comes and after it's all offered and what's it called? Offered and confirmed. Okay, let's sing this song. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namaha Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudhana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunatha Jai Goshai Kori Charana Vandana Jaha hoite Vigna Nasta Vista Puran Jai Goshai Jar Moitaro Dasa Tansavara Pada Renu Mora Panchagrasa Tadira Chardana Sebi Pakta Sane Pasa Janame Mor Eya Vilasa Jai Goshai Jabe Braja Koila Basa Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Parim Vajayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narotamodas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narotamodas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki jai, Sri Nam Sankirtan ki jai. Okay, this concludes our evening talk, Monday night. Every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have this conversation, and sometimes we sing some songs at the end or at the beginning, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we talk the entire time. If you joined in a little after, be sure to watch the replay. This week's topic is Sadhu Sangha and Party Spirit. So be sure to tune in. Okay, so let's close with the vandanas, and I'll turn the camera back to our lordships. Jai Sapadikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Saparshad Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shuddha Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Sri Nishringhadev ki jai. Bhakta Prabhar Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadraju ki jai. Vrindavan Purushottam Dham ki jai. Sri Navadip Dham ki jai. Sri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Sri Ganga Jamuna ji ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaud Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. All the assembled devotees online and also the unseen devotees in the temple room. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to everybody. Thank you again for joining. Feel free to suggest any themes and topics for next week, and be sure to tune in this Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a reading from Revealed Truth. And if you are local, please come to the temple that night. We will take turns reading together. We'll chant some songs, sing some songs together. So please be sure to tune in and to join live. And we'll also be live streaming from the temple room. I hope to see some of you this week. And of course, the first week of Friday, we will have our Kirtan bonfire at Moran Lake Beach. And of course, as always, tune in every morning for the lovely live streams from Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj. He is now reading from the Chaitanya Bhagavat every morning. And also tune into the regularly scheduled Zoom meetings. And stay tuned for our upcoming festivities. Download the Kirtan guide. It's always nice to sing along and read along. And I can't wait to see you all next week. Dandavat pranams. Good night. Goodbye from the Soquel Seva Ashram. Goodbye, all friends. Om Karnath, Jayadev, Marco Bruno, Oscar, Kunti, Saraswati. We have Shadavanam. We have, who else was watching? Tina, Arjun, Hari Balaba, Jerry, Vlad, Gordas, Fabiola, Anil Kumar, and Michael or Madhav. And yes, we had some pauses at the beginning, so sorry about the internet connection. Jose Luis, Dandavat pranams to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Hare Krishna. Bakati vinoda kariya kariya apana kahini bole apana kahini bole Prabhu he emona dhurmati sansara vitare koriyaya chinu ami Jaya Gaura Hari 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 Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai.